Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have another Mattel Jurassic World, again, Epic Evolution, I guess, figure, because this is clearly the Epic Evolution logo and artwork and stuff, minus saying Epic Evolution, but this is how the packaging is, so I'm just going to consider these Epic Evolution, even if it doesn't actually say it, because it obviously is. But we have the Suchomimus, another really cool basic figure release, which is one that I was definitely looking forward to, because I love the Suchomimus, and I actually quite love the Mattel version of it, so it'll be pretty neat to have a basic version of it out. As far as the box art goes, you can see, again, a nice shot over here on the side. As always, we have the basic figures here kind of turned sideways because the boxes are so tall. It would just be awkward, and you know, you'd have to look at it from like a mile away to really stand it up tall. But you can see we have Velociraptor Blue, the Suchomimus we are about to take a look at, the Yanchuanosaurus, which we already reviewed, and the Dilophosaurus in this wave. And then, of course, you have the window area over on the other side to show the figure off. So, let's go ahead and pop this box open and check it out. And here is our Yanchuanosaurus, which just ran away from me. And I'm actually quite surprised with this one. I don't know what it is, but it feels small to me compared to what your average basic figure is, but it's also a lot smaller than the Mattel like mainline version, so it's actually kind of neat to have a smaller version of this dinosaur. And I will say the sculpt looks really nice on this, and the paint is, you know, pretty basic as it usually is, but doesn't look too terrible. Overall, I actually really like this one. We have a nice, you know, decent length for the tail as well, which is what I was kind of hoping for on the Yanchuanosaurus, which the tail wasn't too bad on that one, but this one definitely looks really quite cool. I'm actually pretty happy with this one. So let's go ahead and jump straight to a closer look at it and check it out from there. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our Suchomimus, you can see we have some really nice looking scale detail, very crisp. Overall looks great as far as the fine detail goes. The head sculpt in general looks really nice. We've got the nostrils sculpted out right there. The teeth are all, of course, sculpted out. You can see them shining. There is a nice gloss coat to them, something Mattel seems to do quite often when it comes to the teeth on the basic figures, but no actual paintwork. I would have preferred they just, you know, applied some paintwork. I think it would have made a bit of a difference as far as that goes, but it is still really nice looking, even with the gloss coat. It actually doesn't look too bad, just would have been nicer with actual paint. One area I actually like a lot more on this one than I did on the Yanchuanosaurus is the eye. Even though the eye does still have a brown pupil, it is a very dark brown pupil, and it also looks pretty good as far as the gloss coat that we have on it. Way better than what we had seen on the Yanchuanosaurus. It just looks really good, I think, on this one. We also have a dark brown there that sort of borders around the eye, and then primarily we have a yellowish tone for the body color, and then some brown speckles throughout, which is something, again, that you know, see pretty commonly when it comes to Mattel figures. The paint scheme was definitely a paint scheme we've seen on an older release from Mattel as far as the Suchomimus goes. But as you lead back here into the back of the neck, you start to pick up that very small sort of a sail that we have for the figure. You can see the detailing looks pretty nice, and they've actually painted that. They've given it a nice dark brown, which is nice to see because most times the basic figures have pretty terrible paint apps. It's nice to see at least something on this one. As you move down the course of the neck, you've got really beautiful scale detail, absolutely phenomenal looking skin texture actually, as well as this dark brown that kind of patterns and moves down through the course of the neck. It looks really nice actually as far as the sculpt goes. I really want to get a hold of another one of these and repaint one. It just has that type of detail that would look good with, you know, a little extra paint, maybe a dark wash or something to apply to it. But as you move down, you can see the shoulder a little bit right there. You can also see some nice muscle definition here moving down through the course of the arm. You've got a pretty nice looking sculpt for the hand. You can see the nails, of course, don't have any paintwork, but yet again, just like with the teeth, they do have a bit of a gloss coat to them, so they shine, at least sort of differentiating the nails a little bit from the body. So, you know, you have to give Mattel at least some props, I guess, for that. As you move up into the stomach region, again, the skin texture looks great. I really think they did a phenomenal job on this one as far as the actual scale detail, skin texture on the figure. You can see, though, that dark brown patterning does stop like mid-back area. The coloration continues on this sail-like area, but the actual patterning is gone after that point. And as we move back here, you continue to see that, there's no more coloration through the course of the figure. You do have some nice muscle definition in the thigh as you move down. Again, that skin texture looks great as you continue to lead through the figure. You do see the knee, you've got the calf muscle right there. And then you lead down into the foot sculpt. You've got some nice scoots down the toes. Pretty much a standard theropod foot sculpt for a Mattel figure. You also have the nails. Again, you can see speckles all the way leading out into the nails. No nail paint yet again, but we do again have that kind of gloss coat, that sort of satin shine to the nails. And you do have dew claws, which also actually feature that shine, which is funny that Mattel would go ahead and put that shine on the dew claws of these type figures, but never paint the dew claws. I don't understand why they always ditch those when it comes to the paintwork. And then you lead out here into the tail, but you can now see that the sail area has transitioned from the brown to a yellow, again, the primary body color of the figure. So as we reach the tail, we pretty much lose all extra coloration outside of the speckling, which you can see is abundant through the entire figure. Pretty nice looking fine detail here for the underside. Even the undersides of the feet are very nicely sculpted as you move through. And you're not going to see much of a difference once you turn it around. The only real difference you're going to see would be the fact that the leg is trailing on this side, whereas the leg is leading on the other side. But outside of that, everything else is going to look pretty much the same. But I will say it's actually a really quite nice looking basic figure. And I would say it's probably one of my favorites so far. As far as the articulation goes, of course, it's very basic. There's not much to it. You can see there's no jaw articulation, no neck articulation. You do have articulated arms, which go forward and back. And then you've also got articulated legs, which can go back about that far, go forward about that far. And then, of course, you have a swivel for the ankles, which is something that they usually have. And then tail articulation, which can go down, up, left and right a little bit. It would normally swivel, but the shape of the tail will not allow it to actually swivel. So no swiveling for this one. But as far as a size goes, for the Suchomimus, you are looking at lengthwise right around 13¼ inches, or just shy of about 34 centimeters. And then for a height to the top of the head, yeah, I'd say right about here is about the 5½ inch range, or a hair over 14 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A human being next to our Suchomimus. And you can see, even being a little on the smaller side for the basic figures, maybe it's actually right around the size range. Maybe I'm just feeling like it's smaller because the original Suchomimus from Mattel was a bit bigger, which unfortunately I cannot find mine. I wanted to bring it in for a comparison, but I think it's just buried right now because of me rearranging everything here in my collection room. So unfortunately I couldn't locate it, but again, we do have these figures here to stand next to it, and you can see, even if it is a little bit smaller than your average Suchomimus from Mattel, it is definitely still nicely sized. Then for another size comparison, we have the basic version of the Parasaurolophus next to the Suchomimus, which I guess looking at these two, you can see they are pretty similar in size, so not too far off when it comes to, a size like I thought originally. We also have the Yanchuanosaurus, which is the basic figure that we had reviewed yesterday, next to the Suchomimus, again giving you a good idea of the size. I don't think we need too many comparisons because we already know what the size of a standard basic figure is, and as you can see, this one doesn't differ from that like I initially thought, so it's pretty much the same size as your usual basic release. However, for one final comparison, just in case you don't have any basic figures at all, but you do enjoy Spinosaur species, we've got the Irritator here from the Hammond collection, bringing it in next to our Suchomimus, again from the basic line, to help give you an idea of the fact that the Suchomimus is a little bit bigger than the Hammond collection Irritator. So this brand new Mattel Jurassic World, again, I guess Epic Evolution Basic Suchomimus is definitely a really fun figure, and I would definitely say out of all of the basic figures we've had over the years, this is one of my favorites. There's just something about this one that is really appealing to me. I think the sculpt looks absolutely fantastic. It's probably one of the nicest looking, as far as the fine detail goes, sculpts that I've seen from Mattel in a long time. And overall, I think it just in general looks really good because the proportions don't look quite as disastrous to me as some Mattel figures. And just really, really looks good if you ask me. I also love the design of the Suchomimus from Mattel with that small sail running along the back. I think it looks really cool. The paintwork also isn't half bad for this. Again, it's not great, and there's always room for improvement, but especially when it comes to basic figures, you usually get, basic paint apps. However, this one at least has, some decent coloration to it. It's not too far off from a standard Mattel figure, and the eyes specifically look so nice with the gloss coat they've added. I don't know what it is about the eyes, but I think they look great on this figure, and I really would have liked to have seen at least painted teeth, but at least they did give us a gloss coat for them. Of course, you also have articulation, but just like with the name, it is very basic, so you have limited articulation, but you do at least have some. So overall, this is definitely a really fun release. The only thing that's a little bit of a bummer for it, though, is that Big Bad Toy Store doesn't actually have a listing for this figure individually. To get this figure on Big Bad Toy Store, you have to purchase the entire wave. That's the only way it seems as though you can actually get a hold of this one, is to buy the entire wave. Again, you can't just purchase it individually, which is a bummer because it's so nice, but there's a chance eventually it might pop up on there in an individual listing, but for now, if you are interested, I will, of course, include a link in the description to the entire wave on Big Bad Toy Store, which you can purchase. And if you don't have any of them, I definitely recommend grabbing all of them because they are all pretty cool figures. So make sure you check that link. Go grab this if you'd like, and also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.